In this episode of Generation, we'll meet a very educated, inspiring and creative lady, Ariunzaya Oyuntuya.
Hi everyone, my name is Ariunzaya and today I'm so excited to be appearing on Generation MNB World. I think you know me best by my YouTube channel Ariun Oyun, but I'm a recent graduate of Boston University with a finance and a political science major and a minor. I have a very interesting background in the finance investment world and I'm sure we'll get to learn more about that later. But for today, you'll be spending the day with me, you'll get to know more about me and learn more about what I do. So I'm so happy to be sharing all of that with you guys.
Ariunzaya likes to be healthy and thriving, so daily exercise is a must. She starts her day by doing yoga and going for a jog. Today, she's going for a jog at a park near her home. It was a bit chilly today, but it didn't bother Ariunzaya on her morning jog. Why do you like jogging?
So I used to jog a lot when I was in high school, when I used to play basketball. It was kind of like this routine where it reinforced our basketball practice. But after having lived in New York and Boston, where running and jogging is a lifestyle, I kind of picked it up from the culture of living in the States. And it's just such a healthy lifestyle habit to have. And I love running because it really, releases my stress and creates this beautiful endorphin. I really think, once you really enjoy jogging, it's really dangerous because you get addicted to it. So once I'm done with my workout, I just like to, find somewhere quiet and cozy where I can be a little distance from the world, and I just put my earpods on and search for one of my favorite meditation routines on YouTube, and there you go.
Ariunzaya meditates after her morning jog. She says that meditation and yoga have appealed to her since her mother started taking her to her yoga classes. She said that she's thankful for the effort and patience her mother devoted to Ariunzaya so that she could learn good habits. She's been starting her mornings with meditation for a long time, and today is no exception.
Alright, so I'm done with my workout. Let's head on over to a nice little cozy coffee shop where you'll get to learn more about what I do and how I work.
We have now arrived at Nomad Coffee, where Ariunzaya talks to us about her career. We bet she has great work experience.
So I graduated Boston University with a finance major and a political science minor. And while I was in college, I've had great internship work experiences. I was able to intern at a startup in the personal finance space called LearnLux. And I was also able to intern at an investment fund called Q-Ball Capital. And I was fortunate enough to receive full-time offers from both companies upon graduation. And while I was in college, I was also Vice President of Corporate Relations and Investment Associate for the BU Student Managed Finance and Investment Club. It was a student fund where investment associates by students ran an index fund of $500,000, and we invested in stocks in the S&P 500 in the States. And throughout that extracurricular experience, I was able to gain a good fundamental knowledge of how to research companies, how to do fundamental and technical analysis and research about stocks. And I think that really helped me gain work experiences in the finance industry.
Thanks, Ariunzaya, for talking to us about your experiences in starting your career. We learned that she was a well-grounded student and her career has been continually flourishing. As Ariunzaya transitioned to working remotely during the COVID-19 pandemic, she came back to Mongolia after studying and working abroad for some years. She's still working for her company in the US while living on the other side of the globe. We asked her how she managed to do that.
Yeah, so currently I'm working remotely. I'm supposed to be in the States, but I'm working remotely here because of COVID-19. And I have been working from home the past 6 months in New York, just like millions of other Americans and also millions of other citizens in the world. And I think when you're working from home, the work from home itself has become a complete new staple terminology in the workplace environment across the world. Work from home, WFH, it has become this new terminology this year. And I think it's really hard to adjust yourself into this completely new work style because working from home while you're at your home environment is really hard. It's easy to kind of lose the boundary, it's hard, but I think it's important for you to establish your routine and have a clear routine of what your daily schedule looks like, but also be apologetic to your body when it needs to, because it's also really hard to work like a machine every single day from your home. So listen to your body, but also have a rigid routine that you can always divert back to.
Can you tell us what values you apply to your work?
Values that I put into my work. So my mom always used to advise me when I was younger in middle school, which means in English, if you're gonna do something, if you're given a project or presented a situation, perform at your best, right? Give all of yourself in. Don't leave that 10% lingering around or that 20% lingering around, because you're gonna regret after. The best time to perform at your best is when you're doing the current situation. So I always just try to give my all and bring my A game.
Where do you find your motivation to accomplish all that you have so far?
When I think of motivations, I think of yin and yang, black and white. So for me, motivation sparks from pain and pleasure. Pain as the input and pleasure as the output. Just to explain a bit further, I think of pain as a motivation because for me to exist at this present moment, there has been a lot of sacrifices made by me and my family as well. So, there are times when you struggle, right? As a college student, like you're stressing about the next final exam, or when you're stressing about the recruiting cycle. I always thought of those moments as a privilege. It's a privilege for me to be even stressing about getting recruited for an amazing company in the States. So I always try to think of the sacrifices, always be reminded of them. But then I like to take that pain in and sharpen myself, but then ignite a more positive energy outward.
Earlier, we introduced as her a YouTuber and talked about how she tries to reach out to passionate individuals and to help them with their deep desire to learn, grow, and strive. She posts lots of motivational videos on her channel that focus on having a growth mindset, such as 8 success tips for new academic semester, 6 tips to start your morning fresh, 9 life hacks to study well, 9 tips to land your internship, and 10 helpful tips to recover from burnout, as well as travel vlogs, beauty tips, and much more. Since creating her channel in 2019, she has gained over 27,000 subscribers. Now we're going to talk about her another very valued job, the Craft Club. The Ariun Oyun Craft Club, as described by Ariunzaya, is a virtual journey founded to empower individuals to unlock their full potential and lead a meaningful life.
So Craft Club is an extension of my YouTube audience, meaning that while I was doing YouTube for the past 2 years, I saw a rising need amongst my followers that there were, the top 10% that wanted to talk to me on a deeper level, on a more personal level, and also receive more in-depth content. So as a creator, I saw that as a rising need, and I also wanted to create a more in-depth content, because for a YouTube video, you can only touch upon a certain subject within a 10 to 15 minute period. So I created Craft Club in May 2020 during COVID for my top 10% audience, and basically Craft Club stands for Crafting a Meaningful Life Club. So we talk about 7 different topics in total, which we call cycles, and each of them contributes to how you can lead your meaningful life. So, cycle 1, the topic number 1 is the art of setting your North Star. So we talk about how to plan, how to vision your future. And cycle number 2 is the art of loving yourself, where we go deep into healing your wounds. Cycle 3 is about, conquering your personal finance. So all of the cycles really add up on each other to equip the individual with the tools that they need to lead a meaningful life.
Should a Craft Club member start with a cycle in order from the first one to the 7th, or can they choose from whichever one they like?
Yeah, that's a great question that I get a lot from new members. The cycles are really consecutive and it adds upon each other. So if you were to join Craft Club, I highly encourage you to take it from cycle 1, because it's the fundamentals of organizing your mind, decluttering your world, so that you can come up with your North Star, which is really your life long-term vision, and then everything else really adds up on that.
Have you finished teaching all the cycles of your Craft Club program for this year?
So right now we are on cycle number 6. So my mom joins my podcast because she has full of wisdom, and I'm so grateful to be sharing a part of her vision and wisdom and tips and tricks through Craft Club to my members. So she joins my podcast, and right now we are on cycle number 6. We will be ending the year with cycle number 7, finishing up in November.
Ariunzaya is no longer accepting new enrollment for this year's Craft Club, but if you're interested, you can join her next session, which will be announced in the early 2021. Keep updated by following her on social media. You can also check out ariunoyun.com, the website for Craft Club. Ariunzaya puts a lot of effort into doing her projects for Ariun Oyun Craft Club. She said that preparation for Craft Club falls into 2 categories: the actual contents and the logistics. Ariunzaya made her website herself, learning how to code and to design the website, how to create a membership for her website and on social media. The development of content, which is comprised of 7 main courses that she calls cycles, is the result of years of her own personal growth journey. She also takes several online courses, which she says help her to succeed and develop in the long run.
As I mentioned, studying is my hobby, so I'm really happy doing it. So whenever I need to learn new things, I just go online. Obviously, scratch through the free opportunities first, finish the free resources, go on YouTube. There's plenty of resources. I learned how to edit on YouTube. I learned how to do website on YouTube. And if you have the resources available, I think you should definitely take opportunities of more of the paid lessons, because not everything in life is free, and with high ticket comes high value. This year, I think I took around 3 different courses. I took Dan Locke's high ticket closing program, which is really cool. He really goes in depth on business mindset. I took a bunch of classes for Harvard webinars because of the COVID. So grateful that they have opened more resources to the public. And I've also taken some personal growth, meditation, yoga content as well.
Ariunzaya also talked to us about her childhood and the ways that her family influenced her.
The biggest thing that I learned from my parents was, I think, a really good balance between toughness and softness, sweet and sour. I say that because I had huge curfew. I had to be in bed by 10 p.m. I couldn't go out at night or anything. If I did anything wrong, I would be grounded. There were really strict routines and disciplines set in place. But at the same time, I felt completely free and safe to express my thoughts. And my parents were always there to listen to me, give me solid advice, and they treated me with maturity.
What does family mean to you?
I think family means everything to me. Family is the heart of the society. I don't think there's a huge distinction between economy or the country's success and the basic family. I think the family is the heart of the country. So my biggest goal is actually to build a great family. Who I am today, what I'm doing right now, is all so that I can become the best possible mother version of myself, and also the best possible wife version of myself.
Speaking of family, let's get to know a bit more about Mongolians and Mongolian families. Did you know there are nearly 900,000 families in Mongolia, where around 3.3 million people live? Women make up 50.8% of the population and men make up 49.2%. The average age of starting a family is 29 for men and 26 for women, while the average life expectancy is 66.1 for men and 75.8 for women. The average number of family members is 3.6. Back to our day with Ariunzaya. She talked to us about what two books have influenced her the most.
Today I brought two of the books that highly influenced me, and reflecting back on my family, our family had our own growth culture, growth mindset within our little family too, right? And I was able to experience that later working for a US company, so it was really cool that my family had such a huge growth culture too. So these two books were really important in my life. The first one is The 7 Highly Effective Habits of Teenagers by Sean Covey. My mom gifted this book to me when I was around 11 or 12 years old. It was so cool how they would give you like a tip of like, this is a highly effective habit that you should have as a teenager, and these are the baby steps that you should accomplish, right? The second one is Love, Freedom, and Aloneness by Osho. He's a great philosopher and thinker, and as you can see, this book is highly used up. You can smell a lot of dirt from it at this point. And this book has been passed around my family members, my relatives, and finally it came to me when I was going through my darkest moments, to be honest. So I read it, and since then I was just in love with his ability to think outside the box. And from this book I learned the power to be alone, to be comfortable with your own body. And I think this book has highly influenced my early adulthood, I would say.
After spending a nice time at the coffee shop talking about work, we left for a great place in Ulaanbaatar that Ariunzaya holds dear.
So right now we have just arrived to American School of Ulaanbaatar, which is my high school. I spent my entire high school here. Beautiful place, a ton of great memories, and I can't wait to go inside and share you guys how I spent my high school. Let's go.
Why are we at Ariunzaya's high school? We're here because her fondest memories of Ulaanbaatar are connected to her school years.
So right now we are at the second floor of American School of Ulaanbaatar. I'm standing right in front of this huge hallway, and this is where my high school was. When I was in my high school, I feel like I did a lot of stuff. I actually did a lot of stuff. I was a straight A student, but I was also involved in a lot of extracurricular activities like National Honor Society, Global Issues Network, Student Council, a lot of different sports. I played basketball, volleyball, and I was just a really involved student. And I think that really allowed me to develop two sides of skill sets, one being super organized, meticulous, and to the detail, and the other being more of a creative aspect. I learned that being a successful student is not just about studying hard and studying well. Being a successful student is about going beyond that, right? Being more involved, helping each other out, and having fun along the way. So we are at the ASU gym right now. This is where I spent most of my time because we had practice after school around from 4 to 6 p.m. I believe. And this is where we really grinded. Our entire team worked our butt off. We worked so hard. I just remember doing crazy laps and crazy practices in this exact gym. So every year we had this competition called Acromis, which was an international competition. We traveled to China for 3 to 5 days and had this beautiful tournament that spanned for 3 to 5 days, and we played with other international teams, and it was so much fun. As a team, we were really successful in 2012. We won first place, and I think you can see it in that red flag.
Did you know? The Association of China and Mongolia International Schools has a membership of 77 schools in Mongolia, mainland China, Hong Kong, Macau, and Taiwan. Ariunzaya's team won first place in the 2012 Acromis Girls Basketball Tournament, defeating all the other international teams. What has sports taught you?
Sports taught me a lot in terms of identity and teamwork, mindset and discipline. The greatest win on the court is not just winning by being great or a strong player or a strong team. To me, the greatest win is when you're respected by the other team.
Well, it's been a nice tour of the gym, but sports wasn't the only interest she had in high school. Ariunzaya also loved painting back then.
So as you all can see, ASU has a lot of different artworks. Literally every wall has artwork hanging up on it done by the students. And for me, our school has beautiful art programs where you can test out with different mediums. My favorite painting medium was acrylic and canvas, and I actually took that beyond ASU, where it's now one of my favorite hobbies to paint. One painting takes quite long to finish. I think painting is a beautiful process on its own, where it's not just the act of it, but like it's a journey, it's a personal journey. So sometimes I feel like it's really connected to your emotions. So I think the completion times really vary for me.
Did you want to be a YouTuber when you were in high school?
To be honest, in high school, I didn't really think about YouTube, but I was actually a vlogger, which is really interesting. I didn't even know that I was vlogging at the time. So what I did was I was in charge of my family videos. So our family used to create like a CD video of our family for each year, and I was the person in charge of filming and editing and putting it together and taking it to the local print shop and making it into an actual DVD CD. And then when I went to college, I started, posting about different types of study tricks or how I did my essay, and I got a lot of requests from other Mongolian students asking me different tips on how to do well on their exams, how to do well on their tests. At the time, I really tried to reply to each one individually, but as time went, it was hard to kind of reply to all of the requests. So I thought to myself, maybe I should just make a video about these common topics, and that way there will be more people enjoying it and getting the value out of it, as opposed to me just texting back or emailing back students one-on-one.
Where do you get the inspiration for your YouTube videos?
That's a great question. I like to take my inspiration from my own work style. For example, when it's exam season, preparation process is really important if you want to do well on an exam. It's more about the processes and the framework behind the actual action. Even with YouTube, it's a huge preparation process. One video takes about, to me, like a week of brainstorming and like a couple of hours of just, prepping the content, getting it to the right detail, and then filming itself can take from 2 to 3 hours, or it could be, as short as 20 to 30 minutes. It really depends on how well you've prepared. And then the editing process can take up to, 20 hours or even more.
What do you want your viewers to get from watching your videos?
With my YouTube videos, I really hope that whoever is watching the video to be inspired to be a better version of themselves. I really hope that people don't compare themselves to other people or compete with one another, but compete with your identity, compete with your yesterday's version. I noticed that it's really easy to actually compare yourself with other people, right? Because you're in a community at the end of the day. For me, like when I was in college, when I was in Boston University, I would say there were so many smart students around me. I was always astonished by how much they knew, how wide their knowledge was. And it's easy for me to feel, less or left out. But at the end of the day, that's not really going to help me move towards my goal. It's only going to bring me down. So I realized that, your mindset is so important. Don't compare yourself to other people, compare yourself to yesterday. Because if you compare yourself to your yesterday's version, you're always growing.
What a nice day we had at ASU. When we were about to leave the school, Ariunzaya met with the school's principal, Roger Dutcher.
Good to be back at our school.
Good to see you again, yeah.
Yeah, well, say hi to Generation MNB World. This is my principal. When I was in high school, he was actually the middle school principal, but he's one of our oldest teachers at ASU.
So I know that you've been very busy and you've been very productive since you left ASU. So it's good to see that you had a good foundation here, and I know that there's been a lot of changes in your life. So it's good to see that you've been such a success.
Oh, thank you so much. The school definitely played a big role, for sure. I was telling them all.
As they knew that Ariunzaya was coming to ASU, they prepared to film a video of talking about her experience at ASU for the school's website.
So when I went to Boston for my school, I was incredibly well equipped, and I'm so happy for my high school to help me in my foundation.
Now she has to leave for her next destination, where she'll be pursuing her next life goal. Would you like to know where she's headed?
So currently we are right in front of Mongolian National University School of Law, and we're here because I am pursuing my second bachelor's degree from the School of Law, and I'm so excited to be pursuing my legal system, to understand the legal system from my own country in Mongolia. I chose to study law as my second bachelor's degree because every moment that you take, you are being involved in law in any way, right? So I thought that it's important for me to study law, understand our legal system, the judicial system, to be a better citizen, but to also make better decisions and to, in the future, to become a better leader.
What else are you working on?
So I'm working on a lot of different interesting projects. I really hope that I could have given all of the details right now, but at this moment I cannot. But one thing that I can definitely share with you guys is I am launching my own stationery line. It is a manifestation of what I preach, education, the world of academia. My first stable product will be a 2021 planner, and I'm so excited because this planner book will contain all of the things that I look for in a planner, and there'll be more exciting projects to come forward.
How do you see yourself and your country in the future?
You know, I think it's important to understand how innovation doesn't have to be the stereotypical, the next Amazon or the next Facebook. You know, innovation itself can be something as little as making a difference in any way possible. One of the greatest things that I learned from my boss was he told me how if you take something that's overlooked by a lot of people in the society, if you take an industry or a business or a currently existing problem and fix it and make it pretty and beautiful and put it back, then that's innovation. I'm really hoping to develop myself. I'm passionate about learning, and I think I should prioritize learning in the next couple of years coming forward. And I would love to influence in my own possible way to many more young students in Mongolia.
What do you wish for Mongolia's youth?
I've spoken to a lot of Mongolian youth, and one thing that I recognize as a preoccurring theme is they're always trying to find themselves, right? And one advice I have for them is if you keep looking for yourself and you can't find yourself, and if you look for yourself from external sources and you still can't find yourself, then that's fine, it's okay. You can build yourself, you can create yourself, you can create the version of yourself that you want to become. So you have the power, it's all within you, and enjoy the journey and don't lose yourself in the midst of the journey. It's easy to lose yourself, but I think it's important to remember your roots and stay true to your values. All right, everyone, so this is it. I hope you guys had a great time spending the day with me and getting to know a little bit about my inner world. I had so much fun, but right now I have a class that's starting and I better get going. Bye!
Thank you, Ariunzaya, for being with MNB World today. Best of luck in your journey to achieving more and influencing many more passionate and fearless spirits. This was Generation. We'll see you in another 2 weeks. Goodbye for now.